Hey, thanks for joining me for this lecture on capacity, which represents the third element of a legally binding contract. So in this lecture, we're going to explore the concept of capacity in contract law, which refers to basically the mental and legal ability of parties to understand the terms of a contract and be bound by its obligations. Now, understanding capacity is crucial to ensuring the validity and enforceability of contracts. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Now, capacity in the context of contract law refers to the legal competence of an individual to enter into a contract. It involves assessing whether the parties involved possess the mental capacity or legal status required to understand the nature of the contract and its consequences. Capacity serves as a protection against exploitation and ensures fairness in contract relationships, which is why it's so important. Now, there are several aspects of capacity that we're going to explore right now. The first category is we need to consider the capacity of minors. Now, generally minors, which represent those individuals that are typically under the age of 18, lack the full legal capacity to enter into contracts. Contracts with minors are typically considered voidable, meaning that the minor has the option to affirm or disaffirm the contract upon reaching the age of majority. However, there are exceptions to this rule, such as contracts for necessities like food, clothing, and shelter, which are generally considered to be enforceable. Another aspect of capacity is the capacity of mentally incapacitated individuals. In the case of individuals with mental disabilities or those who are unable to understand the nature and consequences of a contract, their capacity may be limited. Contracts entered into by mentally incapacitated individuals may be voidable depending upon the circumstances and the degree of impairment. Courts often assess whether the individual had the ability to comprehend the contract at the time it was made prior to determining whether capacity was present. Capacity can also be affected by intoxication. Now, when individuals are under the influence of drugs or alcohol to the point where their judgment is impaired, their capacity to enter into a contract may be questionable at best. Contracts made under these circumstances may be voidable, especially if the other party was aware of the intoxication and took advantage of the impaired person's lack of judgment. Additionally, legal status is closely linked to capacity as well. For example, individuals who have been declared bankrupt or have been placed under legal guardianship may have limited capacity to enter into certain types of contracts. Now, these legal restrictions help protect the interests of the individual and prevent some sort of exploitation. Now, understanding capacity is critical because contracts entered into by individuals without the required capacity may be deemed void or voidable. Invalid contracts are unenforceable, and the parties involved cannot be legally bound by any of the terms. So in a sense, capacity in some ways safeguards parties from entering into agreements that they may not fully understand or that may in fact be unfair due to their vulnerable circumstances. As we finish up this video, I want to emphasize again that capacity is a critical element to a legally binding contract and helping to ensure that all of the parties involved have the mental and legal ability to not only understand the terms, but also be obligated to perform the terms of the contract. Whether it be the capacity of minors to the capacity of mentally incapacitated individuals, the law, in a sense, seeks to protect those who may be vulnerable in contractual relationships. So by understanding capacity, we can create contracts that are both fair, valid, as well as enforceable. Thank you for watching this lecture on capacity. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something, and we'll see you next time.